بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين ربي يسر ولا تعسر سبحانك يا عظيم. Last Friday we have started the kitab called فصول الآداب ومكارم الأخلاق. It talks about certain topics, chosen topics related to good manners and etiquettes. And regarding Islam and Islamic Sharia, those mandatory etiquettes and manners to live through your whole life. That is like coming on a daily basis, regular activities that you should keep an eye on and focusing on them. So if we could just summarize, the author mentioned about the way to greet in Islamic Sharia and asking permission whenever you approach somewhere other than your house. If it's like a house, of course, then you have to ask for permission. If it has its own rules and regulations of ringing bell, then you have to follow, of course, accordingly. If it's just the normal, ordinary ways, you just have to ask permission and say Assalamu alaikum. Or say Assalamu alaikum, then enter, and then say, should I enter? As in the hadith, the Messenger ﷺ said, قُلْ Assalamu alaikum, ثُمَّ قُلْ أَأَدْخُلُ. Say Assalamu alaikum, then say, should I enter? You should ask for permission. And we have seen that regarding the groups, people, if some people are in group, and you approach them and you say Assalamu alaikum, so some of the one member of that group is meant to answer or respond to that greeting. Not everybody should have to raise their voice and say wa alaikum assalam. It's not mandatory. If they say it's okay, it's fine. But if only one says, that is more than enough. This is what it is. And of course, the first saying Assalamu alaikum is sunnah. But responding to the person who said Assalamu alaikum is compulsory, is wajib in Islamic Sharia. This is a very important thing to notice. And of course, the opposite also the same. If like a group of people said to someone Assalamu alaikum, and like that, and we have seen other, for example, the other rulings that we have seen, or the etiquettes and the manners we have seen based on the privacies. If two persons are having conversation, and you should first of all be aware, is this a very private conversation or not? If you think it's just a normal thing, two people met in a masjid or something like that, usually it's not a private, so you can just hang out with them. But if it's not like that, you shouldn't just barge in them and just participate in their conversation. That is not allowed. Giving the other people privacy is very important, and a manner. And you shouldn't, of course, and go inside some people's, even hear or enter their conversation, private conversation that they're having, especially if you know that they're having a private conversation, especially a conversation that you are not being invited to participate in. So you can't even try to hear or take your ears and like listen, sneak around and listen here, there. This is not allowed in Islam also. It's very strict about this Islam, about this. وَلَا يَجُوزُ الْإِسْتِمَاعُ إِلَىٰ كَلَامٍ قَوْمٍ يَتَشَاوَرُونَ. So you don't have to listen, you don't have to participate, unless otherwise. If it's just something urf, is known by two people having conversation and you used to come there, then it's just okay. Otherwise, you're not allowed. And the other important etiquettes and manners we have passed through last Friday was about وَمِن مَكَارِمِ الْأَخْلَاقِ التَّغَافُلُ عَنْ ظُهُورِ مَسَاوِي النَّاسِ. That ignoring whatever is being exposed by people's privacies or something that is for them is just, or for you even as a human being, you were not meant or allowed to see. And sometimes this happens when people live with each other or something like that. Sometimes the person might not be aware that someone is there or someone is looking at them, and you see them. So by chance, if you see them, then of course you didn't intentionally did that, but do not expose that. Oh, yesterday night I saw when that person was, changing his pant or something like that. And yeah, وما يبدو في غفلات من كشف عورة خروج ريح لها صوت. All those, some weird, awkward moments that they have, that they get encounter. Because people, they are human beings, so anything could happen, anything they could do, and intentionally or even not intentionally even. So you shouldn't be talking about that. You cannot expose that at all. You just should ignore it as if you haven't seen it at all. But if you do that knowingly, that's also its own sin. And that the other rulings that we have seen, or the etiquettes and manners we have seen, we have to mention one of that, is the musafaha, greetings and shaking hands, is mustahab between two men, of course, and between two women they can have their own handshaking, and men can have their own handshake. But the opposite genders are not allowed to shake hands. And you just allowed to say Assalamu alaikum, but then no handshaking there. And also hugging also in Islam is also permissible. And we have seen that also the ahadith of those brothers, the two Muslim brothers who come and greet each other and hug each other. تناثرت خطاياهم. Their sins will be falling down from them, as if when you shake a tree and the leaves, they fell down like that. Their sins will fall down. So this is a very important thing. And the other thing that we're gonna see tonight is about the manners and etiquettes, of course, of eating food. ويستحب افتتاح الأكل ببسم الله. It is recommended to start eating by saying Bismillah and concluding it with Alhamdulillah. And it's only Bismillah we'll say. You're not going to say Bismillah Rahman Rahim, that full version. You're not going to say that. You just have to say Bismillah. That's it. And at the end, Alhamdulillah. That's the minimum requirement that you should say at the end, Alhamdulillah. Otherwise, there are du'as that are more lengthy than that. Like Alhamdulillah الذي أطعمنا وسقانا وكفانا وآوانا فكم من لا كافي له ولا مؤوي والحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه غير مكفي ولا مودعا ولا مستغن عنه ربنا. Narrated by Imam Muslim, Imam Bukhari. The later one, the first one was Imam Muslim. So those are very good, if you recite them. If you cannot, Alhamdulillah, at least you should say. And of course you should eat with your right hand, and of course to the side that is closer to you. And you're not going to just ولا يكره الأكل والشراب قائما. It's okay, it says here that if you eat while you're standing or you drink while you're standing, but the best is to sit. When you eat something, you sit and then eat your food, and while you're sitting, you drink. That's the bestest, and even best for yourself also. Otherwise, if you stand it, it's okay, it's allowed. وإذا دفع إناء الشراب واللغة دفع إلى من عن يمينه. And the other good manner is if you just pass some water to someone, if some people are sitting like this and you want to pass some water to them, start from the right person who is on your right, on your right hand side. From your hand right side, whoever is, you will see. Whoever whoever that person is, even if someone who's highly respected, it's on the left side or in the middle, it does not matter. In the Sharia is what's Sharia is manner, etiquettes to follow. Like the rules you follow on the highways, the traffic lights. Is there the president is moving here or something? Okay, maybe some other countries they avoid that, but Islam Sharia is more strict than that. It's just even it happened in the Messenger of Allah, it's time. Yeah, he himself did that while Abu Bakr and Umar were there. So whoever is in your right hand, pass to that person. Even if you want to shake hands to all those people, start from the right hand side. This always start from the right hand side in the Islam Sharia. Because the Messenger of Allah used to love the right, utilizing your right hand, utilizing your left legs are like that always. يحب التيمم ما استطاع في شأنه. So this is also another important thing to remember. And that's all for the food. And the other etiquettes and manners the author mentions is وَمَنْ أَرَادَ النَّوْمِ يَغْلُقُ بَابَهُ وَيُوكِئ سِقَاءَهُ وَيُقْطِئ إِنَاءَهُ. Whoever wants to sleep, of course there are also etiquettes and manners of sleeping that you always should rely on. And whoever wants to sleep, you have to, of course, lock your door. If it has a locker, you should lock it. You have to close it. If it just closes only, you have to close it, shut it. That is the most important. And you have to cover up whatever plates or cups you have, cover them. And you will also, of course, switch off your lights and all that. كذلك روي في السنة عن النبي. Yeah, this is how it's been narrated from the Messenger and his Sunnah. Because there are afas, fitans, and all those weird things are going around at the night, and so they might entering in them, and then at the morning you want to use those plates and all that. So it's not recommended. And that's of course, for the sleeping. And of course, there's some dua while you want to sleep before that. بسمك اللهم أموت وأحيا. And when you wake up, Alhamdulillah الذي أحيانا بعد ما أماتنا وإليه النشور. And those are very important things to remember while sleeping. And of course, sleeping on your right side. At the end, in the middle of the sleep, doesn't matter which way you face then. But the beginning, when you're sleeping, you should sleep while you're facing on your right side, and sleep like that at the end. The other etiquettes and manners the author is mentioning here is ويكره لمن أراد المساجد للصلاة والاعتكاف أن يتعرض لأكل الخبائث من البقول كالبصل والثوم والكراث. And it is this of course discouraged in the Sharia for the person who wants to enter a mosque for a salat or i'tikaf or anything like that, that he start eating something that it has a smell, like the garlic and all that, and onions and all that. Because when you eat and you know that you're going to be smelly, someone who gets near you or closer to you can sense that smell from your mouth. This is kara, is not allowed. In fact, it's just nahi. The Prophet Muhammad, he prohibited this. He said, فَلْيَعْتَزِلْنَا وَلْيَعْتَزِلْ مَسَاجِدَنَا. Whoever so eats those kind of, those leaves like onions, garlics, and all that, should stay away from us and should stay away from our masajids. This is how the Messenger mentioned. So imagine something, garlic, onion, all these are very halal things you eat. Their smells are not allowed in masjid. Imagine something that is prohibited, which is haram. Eating it is haram. And you come up with the masjid and in between the musallins. you smoked a cigarette and you came. And when you sit, you start praying next to that person, you can sense that cigarette, and that person gets irritated, you will be sinful for that. وَإِنَّ الْمَلَائِكَةَ تَتَأَذَّى مِمَّا يَتَأَذَّى مِنْهُ بَنُو آدَمَ. And the angels get irritated by what the human beings get irritated by. If the human beings get irritated, the angels get irritated. Khalas. If the angels and the human beings get irritated, with what kind of human beings are they? The believers. They got irritated by you, Allah will also get irritated by you automatically. So this is unacceptable. And some other drugs, stuffs, or other thing that people eat and they put on their mouth, all those, they are, and you know that something they knowingly, they know that this is smell. They don't even try to or hesitate to wash their mouth and clean their mouth and come. So people they should be aware of such things. ويستحب الإجابة إلى وليمة العرس وليس له أن يستجيب إلى وليمة الختام. The other ruling in here the author mentions is mustahab to accept someone's walima. He invited you to his marriage. Walima is some sort of food or preparations done by the person who is getting married. So if he invites you to come have a dinner, have lunch because of the marriage, so that is what is called walima. So it is mustahab to participate. He's in fact saying here mustahab. Some of the scholars they regard it as wajib also. As a madhab Imam Shafi'i, it is compulsory to accept that walimatul urs. And except unless otherwise, that place there is music or there's something unlawful is happening there and you know it, then maybe you have a reason. But otherwise it's wajib. Yes, and this is many scholars even they agreed upon this. والذي عليه أكثر أهل العلم أن الإجابة إلى وليمة العرس واجبة بالنسبة للشخص المعين. It is actually wajib. Some of the scholars they are going towards that. Yes, and this is also Abi Hanifa. This is Imam Abi Hanifa's qawl, Imam Malik and Imam Shafi'i also. And even Imam Ahmad himself, he has two qawl and two riwayah. One riwayah he says mustahab, one riwayah he says is wajib to accept it. But the Azhar here, they're saying that it is actually, he's saying it was wajib. So, the majority of the scholars, Jamahir Ahl al-Ilm, they went through that. So be careful. If you have endless, very big valid reason, you have to accept the walimatul urs. إذا دعاك أخاك فأجبه عرسا كان أو غيره. The Messenger Muhammad said in this authentic hadith narrated by Imam Muslim, if your brother, he invites you and calls you over somewhere, any program, yes, عرسا كان أو غيره. But the Messenger in this hadith specifically mentioned about marriage. So if it's marriage or something else, you accept that invitation. So this hadith is actually, there is mutlaq, it's just wajib like that. So it shows the hadith is compulsory. And there is no sarif that is taking away from the wajib or something. So that is very important to know that, Yes, they mention it. وإنما يستحب الإجابة إليها إذا لم يكن فيها لعب ولا منكر ولا لهو. فإن كان فيها محرم حرمت الإجابة. If it's something very sinful or unlawful, something is happening in that marriage, then it's of course, you're not allowed. It's haram to accept that. ويكره ويستحب للمسلم عيادة أخيه المسلم وحضور جنازته إذا مات. The other highly recommended act or is a manner is that to visit someone who is sick and to participate in his funeral. Whenever someone you know he or she died, and you have to participate in that. In fact, these are one of the 5 rights that the Muslims they share upon each other. حقا على المسلمين. And the Messenger mentioned in several hadiths that the rights upon a Muslim upon the other Muslim is, if there are 5, and one of those 5 are these 2: visiting the person you know he's sick, visiting him, participating on his funeral. And this is the least what you can do for your brother. And what else could you do? وتعزية أهله. And also, yeah. ولا بأس بعيادة الذمي فقد عادني. والغيبة حرام في حق من لم ينكشف بالمعاصي والقبائح لقوله تعالى ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا. And the other etiquettes and manners in here is that, in fact, in a manner here, the ghiba, backbiting, it is also haram. من لم ينكشف بالمعاصي والقبائح, unless otherwise, and we will see that also. By backbiting someone, you're having evil intention for someone, and backbiting that person is not allowed, is haram. And it's actually mentioning about someone, something that person, specific person you're mentioning about, while he or she is not present, and you mention something that person that person can be hurt. He can be hurted about that if you see in front of that person. So this is what the ghiba means. And the Islam Sharia is strictly prohibited that. وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا, and do not backbite each other. Except otherwise, there are some exceptional ways that is actually allowed that the scholars and ulamas they mention. For example, if you want to tell the people that be aware of such person, he is evil and he's a sinful person, he's fasiq, just so that they could know and they be aware of, then that is allowed then. ليحذر من أو سأل عنه من يريد. Or that's one way, or the other way is someone wants to know about this person, maybe because he's going to get married to someone, to some girl, and that girl asked you, or maybe the girl's family asked you, they said, oh, you know this person very well, you're very close to him, tell us about him. So then you have to mention even. In fact, at that time you have to mention. If he's a very evil person, if he's drug addict, if it's his tariq salat, he doesn't pray, mention that. Because it's about a life. Someone's is going to end up marrying this person. So that the person does not follow that wrong track, you have to talk about that. Or you are doing business with someone, or someone wants to do business with that person, and you know this person, so you have to say that this person is not trustworthy. I have dealt with him, and I know some people dealt with him. Oh, please don't go there. Yeah, review. Just like, the people, they review about some other places. So like that. And you will not get any sinful from that. You're not going to get sin from that, telling about that person. In fact, you get the ajr of the nasiha, because you did nasiha to someone. So the backbiting now becomes something that minimizing someone's honor and destroying someone's honor, embarrassing someone. لا يقصد به إلا الإزراء. The intention is just to hurt that person and to humiliate that person. ويستحب ضبط الألسنة وحفظها. So the highly recommending thing is to control or manage your tongue, and from any sort of that is not allowed in Islam, something very that's not permissible in Islam. Always you have to keep and watch your tongue. والإقلال من الكلام إلا فيما يعني ولا بد فيه. And also minimizing your talk except what is necessary. Something that is necessary, you should want to say it out only. So this is actually one of the ways to control or manage your tongue from falling into some sinful statements, sinful conversations. And one of the things that include in the tongue is the comments that the people they write on the social media. This is also included as if you have said something. This is very something that people should be aware of. You write something in a comment as a comment somewhere just to hurt that person. So if your intention is that, it is as if you have said it from your mouth. And Imam al-Ghazali alayhi rahmatullah, he mentioned in his kitab in Bidayatul Hidayah, he mentioned in fact writing. Yeah, because at that time there was some people used to write something. So if you write and typing is just the same. If you type something and if you write, they have the same hukum, unrolling. So وَإِيَّاكَ. So you have to be aware of whatever you are typing. It's not like, okay, this is social media, okay, it's fine. So people, they took, like easily, like it's gonna be just typing a keyboard or something like that. You'll be sinful for that. Whatever you do that there, you attack some ulama, some scholars, some Muslims over there, and you will be held accountable for that. Yeah. وأفضل من الصمت إجراء الألسنة بما فيه النفع لغيره. But what is better than just being quiet is utilizing your tongue بما فيه النفع لغيره. What is beneficial? Yes, use your tongue to benefit others, to khatiras, reminders, theirs, and all that. Something that is beneficial to others. Use your tongue as that means. But do not utilize your tongue as a harm or sin. وَالْإِنْتِفَاعُ لِنَفْسِ. Even if it's within yourself. Okay, you couldn't benefit others, right? Benefit yourself, utilizing your tongue. How? By reciting the Quran, by studying Islamic studies, dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, commanding the good, forbidding other from sinful acts and all that. وَالْإِصْلَاحُ بَيْنِ النَّاسِ. So there are all other ways and means to approach that. وَلُبْسُ الْحَرِيرِ عَلَى الرِّجَالِ مُحَرَّمٌ عَلى الرِّجَالِ. The other manner and aspect the author mentioned here is that wearing silk, the clothes that is made of silk, is haram from the men and permissible for the women. ويباح للنساء وكذلك التحلي بالذهب حتى الخاتم. Even using golds also is also limited to women, haram from the men. So these are manners and etiquettes regarding clothing. But as in general, the way of the clothing in Islam is just permissible. You can wear any type of clothes. You can wear any type of the color, any type of the type of clothing what is made from woolen and all that, except only the silk clothes. That is just, and the clothes that shows as a shuhra, exposing someone, making you famous, or if you want, or clothes that you're wearing that it's not being wear in that culture or in that city you're living in. So your intention is to just look different from the people, so that you can, people's attention, so that you can grab people's attention towards you. If your intention is that, that is not allowed. So it's called libas al-shuhra. So that kind of clothes is not allowed, and the silky clothes for men. Beside all the other clothes you can wear, there's not limited to some clothes. You cannot limit yourself to some type of clothes. And we already talked about that. I've talked about that, and when we were doing the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, the biography on his clothing. Yeah, and in detail I've mentioned the type of clothes that Messenger Muhammad ﷺ used to wear. He used to be stylish, and he used to wear every type of clothes. So he didn't used to wear some specific clothes or specific colors. Every type of colors the Messenger he wear, and every type of clothes he wear. So this is a very important thing to know then. ولا يجوز تعمد حضور اللهو واللعب ولا شيء من الملاهي المطرية. And it's not allowed, it's not permissible to participate, to take part in, whereas somewhere where it's been the lahu and la'ib, gambling and all sort of those things. And of course, games and all these, they're also included. Any type of games the people are playing in a group way. All these are lahu and la'ib, and it's not allowed. ولا شيء من الملاهي, that is wasting your time, especially wasting your time from the ibadah and dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, anything that is actually gonna take you away from the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah's ibadah, it's not even allowed. Whatsoever that thing is, even if it's something's permissible. So what about something that is not allowed? Something known as lahu. The lahu and lahu is something that is wastes your time. It's just a good example is games, that's it. The sort of games that people play, whether it's in their phone or something else. Or the shatranj that they call, the people play, is it on ladu or something like that? In fact, that is as in the hadith, the Messenger specifically mentioned in the hadith Sahih Muslim. Man la'iba bil-shatranj. So whoever plays with that kind of game, it is as if he or she has put his or her hand on the blood of pork. And this is how severe it is. And the people now, they play it as electronically now. I think there's no more anything that's doing like that. The 6 ladu, is everybody aware of this? Yeah. Now they're playing as electronically in a phone. So, or maybe they do as Wi-Fi, so maybe you're playing with some other people, or maybe you're on at the same spot, whatsoever. So you have to take care of these things, especially of your children, if they're playing games such like that. Now they are almost muftatin. They're all the kids, the youths. They are being, wastage of their time playing with those, So you have to fight that. We're gonna stop at 30, inshallah, at 8:30. And the other thing to mention here is التداوي بالحجامة وشرب الأدوية جائز. And now is the matter and etiquettes regarding treating yourself, the treatment of oneself. How should you treat yourself if you're sick or anything, you feel anything? So one of the ways is تداوي بالحجامة. The hijama, acupuncture. Using that as a means of treatment is one of the best ways that the Messenger of Allah, he himself did, and he motivated in many ahadiths. And also drinking any sort of medicines, supplements, is jaiz and is allowed. ولا يجوز تداوي بمحرم ولا نجس. And it's not allowed to treat yourself as a treatment, something that is haram. ومن رأى من الحياة شيئا في منزلة فليؤذنه ثلاثا إن بدا له بعد ذلك قتله. If you see any sort of insects around your house, so you have to just like give some a sort of attention to that thing, to leave or depart that house. Not like right on the spot, you shouldn't attack some insects. And we will see that it has their own ruling. Every insect also, it's been regarded in Sharia. There are some ways. So if you see any sort of insect around your house, make some like noises, some way that distract that thing, that thing should go away from your house. If it didn't went out right, then you can attack and you can kill that insect. And there are some, of course, exceptions in that you could attack right on the spot. And you shouldn't announce or tell, give him that. Like, for example, al-awzagh, like the lizards. If you see any lizard around your house, that is on the site, yeah. They say killing on the site. So on the site, you will attack that lizard. And in fact, you get some reward from that, an award from mentioned in some of the hadith. If you have the first time, if you hit it and it dies, 100 rewards for that. And then again, if you do it, gets minimizes. So this is a very important thing to know, yeah. So for that thing, and also the rat also included, al-fuwaysiqa. The message I mentioned is that word. But the other things, you have to give them time, like an ant and all that. And if you have a lot of ants in the house, maybe you're getting me irritated, you have to just make sure they just do something, some noise, some distraction, that they could go away. That is important. And regarding the ant, I remember one of the mashaykhs, they used to say that you can recite some of the ayahs of the Quran, like يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم, some of the verses from the Quran that relate to them. If you recite that, they might also go away from there. It works also. So these are very important things to know. But be aware, like the snakes and something like that, because they could be something else also. They could be jinn. So if you attack, they might also cause you harm them. Yes, if you can get rid of them in any way, other ways, fine. Otherwise, and ولا يحل قتل. Yeah, ولا يجوز قتل النمل. It's not allowed. It's not permissible to kill an ant. ولا تخريب أحجرتهن, and also destroying, their holes, and where they live. Something you cannot go and just block that hole or destroy it. That is not allowed. You can't do to ant like that. Ants, they're just friendly. Okay, but then they're just irritated. But then at the same time, you cannot attack them. ولا يحل قتل الضفادع, and it's not allowed to kill frogs. لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى عن قتل الضفدع, because the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم prohibited from killing any sort of frog. And also there is in hadith, yeah. And what else do we have in here? We have ولا يجوز إخصاء البهائم ولا كيها بالنار الوسم وتجوز المداوة حسب ما أجرنا في إحدى الروايتين. So that's all for tonight, inshallah ta'ala. And we will stop it in here. And I think we're going to continue it from the next night, Friday night, inshallah ta'ala. And I think the kitab is already finished in here. just two, three fossils are left. I think we should stop here. والله سبحانه وتعالى أعلى وأعلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.